Hi, everybody. Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is the weekend, November the 8th. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. And this, of course, is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the market. Pretty wild times. And then we'll take a look ahead, see what we got coming up this week. So let's get down to it. All right, so let's go over what happened last week here. Government shutdown obviously continues, starting to impact the travel sector as we're hearing about airline cancellation, flight cancellations. The market did finish down this week, also on some concerns that the valuation on some of these companies are really extended, and despite beating on top and bottom lines, there was just no incremental buyer to drive these stocks higher. So got a bit of a sell-off this week on some valuation concerns. Also, there was this comment that the CFO made, OpenAI, floating the idea out that the government should stop all the AI spending. Was not really well received at all. It sounded like another potential for a bailout there. Anyway, yeah, earnings generally good, but subsequent price action not so much so. Buyers seem to be exhausted. So you can see how we finished on the week, although this was after a couple of back-to-back week gains, so maybe a bit of a pullback was due there, but you can see the tech sector took the hit the hardest there, down 3.1%. Energy and healthcare. Energy came back this week, and healthcare. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but it seemed like there was the money. The money wasn't leaving the markets. It was more like it was rotating into different sectors there. So it came out of technology, communication services, lost ground, but energy and healthcare started to see some gains. 2-year and 10-year treasuries, pretty flat, didn't really change much this week. Dollar down slightly on the week, but again, not much of a change there. And Bitcoin, really taking a bit of a dive here. Last week it was around 110. Last I checked, it was around 103. So Bitcoin under a little bit of pressure, as with the rest of the tech sector. So that was your weekend review. On Amazon, How to Swing Trade, my original swing trade book, Profiting as an Active Trader, a little bit more in-depth analysis and information about swing trading, position trading, and my last and latest book, How to Trade Options. So if you're interested in trading options, that's a complete guide to trading options and strategies that you can use, so that I often use as well. So available on Amazon, links in the description below. Check them out. On the 2-year, stayed about the same, was flat. Same with the 10-year, didn't really make much progress one way or another. So kind of just waiting around for the next Fed rate cut or not cut, whatever they decide. You can see here the Dow. The Dow had a bit of a sell-off here on the week, but had a nice little recovery there on Friday, and we did so on volume, which is a bit of a positive. And again, last week I kind of mentioned we were getting extended from these moving averages. You can see here and see here, when we get extended from the moving averages, we do tend to get a pullback. So this pullback was kind of expected, as I had mentioned last week. And you can see here the Qs had a pretty rough week here. Gap down on the Monday or the Tuesday, and then just continued to sell off. We did kind of bounce off this 50 EMA, which we're above it on the weekly, or the daily, I should say. And there's your weekly, again, extended and pulled back as expected. SPY, kind of same story here. It did manage to hold. It did go below this 50 EMA or 50 moving average, but we did manage to finish well above it on Friday. Again, got extended and a bit of a pullback to the moving averages as expected. So the IWM did not manage to hold this 50, couldn't get back above it here on the daily. But we had a pretty good comeback here on some pretty decent volume. So again, as long as interest rates stay low, IWM fairly safe. VIX had a big spike up on Friday, and then as we get into the weekend, a really big pullback there. So I'd expect a positive open on Monday, but we'll have to wait and see. And again, the dollar on a weekly didn't really do much at all. And given that the Treasury's yields didn't change much, that's not surprising. And Bitcoin trading around 102 right now. Again, Bitcoin in I wouldn't say it's in trouble, but it's definitely having some challenges here after it got retested this 125 area. It's been under pressure ever since. And of course, that's sort of correlated now primarily with the tech sector. So not surprising we're getting some challenging price action with Bitcoin as well there. So that was your indexes in review. So this is charts of the various sectors making up the SPY. You can see here, there's the SPY. We did get that sell-off on the week. Discretionaries came down. Communication services was another big loser on the week. Of course, technology was led the way here, as I've already mentioned, and technology makes up about just over a third of the SPY right now. So when technology is not going up, it's pretty hard for the SPY to go up as well, given that weighting. But you can see here where some of the money rotated into. You can see here, this is the XLE energy sector, and you can see here we had a nice gain here on the week. Healthcare held up really well here. You can see healthcare was going the opposite direction of the SPY. Again, that's just an illustration of where money is flowing into. And utilities had a nice day on Friday, a bit of an engulfing candle there, as well as the financials, which did held up fairly well this week. So money coming out of technology this week, going into some other sectors, and that's kind of how it looks like when you look at these various charts. CNBI. I'm still waiting for FDA to get back to work here and approve this. This should give a nice catalyst for a pop. Canadian company. And again, this is a graphite company. It's had a nice little pop here on some news and still holding there. And it's another year or so to having an active mine. So I'm just holding on to that one, more position trade. I still am holding some gold. I'm looking, this was a huge run up here. And I think a lot of the call buying really sort of showed up in this latter part of this move. And yeah, it sort of pushed the price higher as a lot of retail traders got into it, and then it really fell off here. So I'm back into it now, and I still think gold is probably going to have its time in the sun again, go back up to all-time highs. This was one I was holding. I was looking for a break of 5. We did get that, and I'm out of it. And also it's reporting this week, so generally don't like to hold those stocks through earnings. Meta, I bought some, and I'm a little underwater here, but I think it's going to bounce back next week. I don't think Meta's going to stay down here very long. I actually added a little more on this pullback. So I'm got a small position in it, and I think it's going to run back up eventually. If it breaks this week's low, I'll have to get out of it. Silver, again, same comments as gold. Still think we're going to head back up here after this big blow off top. And uranium, still in this trade, but we'll see where it goes. I still think uranium has a lot of potential, but maybe further down the road here. So those are the actives that I've got on right now. Netflix, I'm kind of looking at this one. I had this on my list last week, didn't do anything with it, but it's still looking pretty solid as a potential short, put short, maybe like a 1050, maybe buy 1,000 or 1,000 put below it, just to cover and mitigate some of the risk. But I think it's probably going to hold in this range here. So, and again, it's going to do a stock split, so I think it'll be the price will be supported. NVIDIA, I'd like the really sold off, got a nice double top there, really sold off last week. Again, through this nice candle on volume here, you can see the big volume on Friday. Some buyers came in and right at this sort of 180 level supported it. So I think 180 is your area where there's some significant support. And yeah, so NVIDIA definitely possible for a bounce or selling some puts at 180 if you wanted to own it there. So that's an opportunity for in NVIDIA. And PLTR, pretty much the same comments for NVIDIA. You can see here, this was once, twice, three times, four times tested this level. Doesn't mean it won't go down and break it, but that's your level to trade against, that 170 level. And it looks like it's, again, potential for a bounce on this meme stock. QS, I didn't take any trade on it this week, but it was on my list last week. And again, it's just holding up here. This actually isn't a quantum stock. It's actually a battery company. So trading in this range here, and yeah, just consolidating, and it's looking like it could break out here out of this 18 if we can close and hold above that. And Tesla, again, I mentioned this last week, just trading in a range. 470 seems to like this, hold this 420 level. Here's your 20 EMA. It's still trading above that. So Tesla for a range trade. And again, utilities had a really nice day on Friday. And there's maybe a possibility we could go back up. We've kind of filled this gap already. But 50 could be the next area that we could see some resistance there. You can see here the MACD starting to turn up, the stochastics and RSI getting above 50 there. So it's looking a little promising for utilities. And this is a beta ETF, so you can play this with XLU as well. So those are the ones I am watching for next week. Levels on the Dow, the Q, SPY, and IWM with support and resistance levels. Economic events, of course, we would have been expecting CPI data, jobless claims, retail sales, PPI. I don't think we're going to get those numbers this week due to the shutdown. We may get this NFB-IB number on Tuesday before the market open. There's a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week as well, especially stacked up here on Wednesday all throughout the day. Lots of events, lots of speakers at those events. And as far as earnings go, some interesting stuff. We got Rigetti, that's been a big trader. We've got Rocket Lab and ASTS. CoreWeave, they're on Monday. Lots of stuff. OKLO. Nuclear stock on Tuesday. We do have AMAT on Thursday after the close, another tech stock. And we got some Chinese stocks reporting early on Thursday, including Disney. And that should be HIVE, that's Hive, that's on Friday morning. And so that's what we got for earnings and economic events. Some high-level assessment as we wrap things up here. Again, we did see some money. It didn't leave the market. It just sort of rotated out of tech, some of the high-flying, high-valuation areas into areas like healthcare, financials, and some utilities. Obviously, there were some concerns about valuations that took some of these high-flying tech stocks lower. I think we could see a possible bounce back in tech next week, as I've mentioned earlier, especially given Friday's close. And certainly an end to the government shutdown would be a big catalyst for a significant move back higher in the markets on that news. So I'd be watching for that, because I believe that's kind of what took the market back up on Friday, was some rumors going around that maybe Democrats and Republicans had come to some agreement on funding, which didn't turn out to be the case, but we still got a rally nonetheless. So anyway, that's it, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. As always, we will be starting our pre-market show 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Hopefully you can join us there for the pre-market show, and then trading the market open, both in our room and live on YouTube. And give us a thumbs up if you like this video. I appreciate the comments and the thumbs. So that's it. Take care. Ciao for now.